What's up, guys? This is Doug from Basement Level Magic. We're back for another Battle for Zendikar Swiss draft. We have unfortunately opened up a pretty unexciting rare. Probably the best two cards here, Eldrazi Sky Spawner and Halmar Tidecaller. I'm going to go with the Sky Spawner, and the reason for that is that the Tidecaller, unfortunately, you just don't get a good sense of what you're going to be able to pick up as far as awakened creatures. So it's a much riskier first pick, but Sky Spawner is an excellent card, and I'm happy to take it. This is actually a tough pick, so we have a couple options. We can go into red and pick up the Nettle Drone. Nettle Drone's a great card. It's always easy to play in a red deck, especially if you're going to Void. But there's also a Stasis Snare and a Royal Spout. Now, it sort of makes me wish I'd picked up the other blue card in the previous pack, but because I would have been able to return the Royal Spout with the Tidecaller. But Stasis Snare is also an excellent card, and both cards put me into white as well as blue. If I just want to take a blue card, there's not really a good option here. So I think I'm going to take the Royal Spout because it lets me play him with the first card I picked. Whereas if I take the Stasis Snare, maybe I end up in blue, maybe I end up in white, but I already had a very good blue card. In this pack, we have a couple of options. We can go with the Duststalker, which is basically a 5/3 that gets returned to your hand. It has haste if you're not playing any other colorless creatures or if it's your only creature. But as far as synergy with what we've already picked, there's not a lot of great stuff here. The Mist Intruder is probably our best bet. Spell Shrivel maybe a second. I think probably the best card in the pack. Well, I guess Duststalker would probably be the best card in the pack, but it's in two colors we're not in currently. We're only pick 3, so I mean it's possible we could pick that. But the two cards we do have are very good, so I think I'm going to stick with what we've got. Here we have another good deck. Mist Intruder's okay, and I do like the card. Benthic Infiltrator's better, but I have been just terribly impressed with Ondu Rising. It has been a powerhouse for me, and I think I want to take that. It puts us pretty squarely in blue-white. And I think I want to pick one or the other to start really cutting off, go in this direction. I'm going to pass it. I think there's a chance we pick one up later and take the Benthic Infiltrator, and that may come back to haunt me later on. But there's just so much good blue, and I want to cut blue off that I think I better make the change now. And I'm glad I did. There's not much white here. If we'd taken the red-black card, obviously there's another good red-black card, but we didn't go down that road. Coastal Discovery is pretty excellent, and I've been impressed with it as well. Here we have a couple options. The Griffin is good, Shadow Glider is good, and the Tide Drifter is good. Keeping with my theme of really cutting off the blue, I think I want to take the Tide Drifter. Here we finally get a pack where the blue doesn't impress me, and that I don't necessarily want to take a card, because I don't think it'll help the deck really. So what I am looking at here is probably just taking the Smite. It's possible we don't end up playing white, in which case the Mindraker is probably a better pickup. Smite's been pretty good in this format. There's just so many large creatures. Yeah, I'm going to take the Smite and see where we end up. Here we have some interesting options. We probably will see at least another Rune Processor. I don't think we play two, especially in a blue-white deck. Especially in a blue-white Awaken deck. If we end up in Awaken, your lands just end up being creatures, and you don't want to be tapping them to like cast a big thing, especially if there's some sort of parity on the board. I think here I'm just going to take a Spell Shrivel. We're not super into white, and we could still make a shift in the next pack. So I think that's the right call. So I could take the Felidar Cub. It is a fine 2-drop if we're in white. Blue-green is not a good combo, and I love a Snapping Gnarlid, but I don't think that it's something that can really be played with the cards I've already taken. I don't mind an Anticipate. I think we'll see more. And I'd rather take this, I think, the land at this point. Tandem Tactics is a fine card. Tajuru Beastmaster is an excellent card if you're in that color, and I'm just not so far. Tactics is a card that I might not necessarily play, depending on what the deck looks like, though. Angelic Gift, I suppose it's possible if we end up with like some medium-sized Eldrazi or something, like the Kozilek's Channeler, and we just wanna find another win condition. I could see that. Inspired Charge. I don't think this is the deck for it, to be completely honest, but maybe. We passed a lot of good white. We passed a lot of good white flyers. So we'll kind of just see what we pick up. I would not be totally averse to going into red, but boy, a double red 7-drop sure does put you in that direction pretty pretty overpoweringly. I think the Clutch Occurrence here is probably going to be the best pickup. Again, there's some pretty darn good green, but I'm just not looking to be in green. And then if there was a white flyer, I would definitely consider that, but there's not. So I think Clutch Occurrence is just the best. That Hallmark Tidecaller that I passed now is looking like an excellent card, and I wish I had it. So we'll be on the lookout for another one, now that we have 3 Awaken cards that we can return to our hand. I think we were rewarded here. I think, wow, actually it's a tougher call than I thought. So I first saw the Stasis Snare, and I think, yes, excellent removal. It's a perfect kind of card, especially if you're playing something where you can, remove a card from the game rather than give them an opportunity to return it by getting rid of your Stasis Snare if you have a way to ingest. And the blue-white deck could certainly do that. Hedron Network is not really something I'm interested in. Spell Shrivel is not a good first pick. Or I guess it would be my second pick, right? Yeah. Gideon's Reproach would be a good one. Windrider Patrol would be a good one. This is a very tough pack. So currently 5 creatures and 5. I think this is probably wrong, but I think the Windrider Patrol is just a better card. Here we are rewarded. I wanted that Tidecaller so badly, and now I'm passing a Sheer Drop as well. But I think that's just what we have to do. Eldrazi Skyspawner number 2 sounds perfect. So here we have Cloud Manta versus really nothing. So yeah, Cloud Manta. Ulamog's Reclaimer is probably going to be excellent in this deck. Other choices would be the Oracle of Dust, probably, as both 5-drops. I do have one 5-drop. I would love to lower the curve, especially lowering the curve with some white. What ways do we currently have to ingest? Mist Intruder, Infiltrator. That's it, right? Oh, Spell Shrivel's technically, I guess, an ingest. Yeah, an ingest. Put something in the exile. I'm gonna take the Reclaimer. Hey, Brilliant Spectrum is not something that I've been super impressed with. I think here we just take another Spell Shrivel. A lot of good green. I know people are down on green quite a bit, and to some degree they're correct. Like, green is not awesome, but nobody drafts it. And so you're able to pick up just some insane cards if you're willing. And I don't know if you watched my last draft. I think it was number 13 or 14 on our channel, but in my last draft, I did a red-green landfall deck, and that deck just rolled people over. I mean, it won. I mean, I won the draft, but it won within a couple of minutes. Usually, it was just over. I mean, it's not a deck that can be mana screwed, so you got to be pretty careful about what hand you keep. But if you get a couple of snapping gnarls in your opening hand, it's really hard for someone to come back, because especially in Battle for Zendikar, you'll probably have hit them 2 or 3 times, and if you have the landfall, you will have done some serious damage before they're able to even do anything. I think 2 spell shrivels is plenty, and I don't know that I'll even play both, so I'll take the Scour. Again, it's probably filler, and I actually don't play this card very often, so we'll have to wait and see. Here there's not really anything I care about. Take the Blade. I think Waving Elemental is probably just too expensive of a card, and I don't generally play it. There's one Anticipate, and I may end up playing an Anticipate. I think the white I have is probably good enough to splash. I don't know if I'd splash 2 Felidar Cubs, but I would definitely pick up another Royal Spout if I could. I would probably not play more than 1 Smite the Monstrous, but any other white I would definitely be considering if it was powerful enough. I don't think you can play mono blue. I mean, blue's the best color, but I think it needs some help, usually from white or red. Well, Drowner of Hope seems pretty good. Other options, Tightening Coils and Merc Strider. I would love to have a Tightening Coils. Encircling Fissure I think is pretty good. I don't like the Awaken on Encircling Fissure, but the fact that we can bring it back with the Halmar Tidecaller is pretty cool. Just blanking all their damage twice. I think probably we just take the 5/5 on color card, though. There's a second Encircling Fissure, Lithomancer's Focus, Shadow Glider, or Royal's Retribution. And I currently like the look of our curve. I think it looks very good. If I was going to add a card, I would probably add a 4-drop or replace something. Because the 3-drop slot looks pretty good. What are we doing for removal? Let's see. We got Royal Spout pseudo removal. I mean, not a lot, really, honestly. Clutch of Currents is pseudo removal. I'm tempted to take the Encircling Fissure or the Sheer Drop. I think I like the Encircling Fissure better. And the reason is because you just don't see it coming. It blanks your damage, and if you don't know that the other person has it, you can totally get blown out. And that's just the kind of card I like to play. And I guess technically it's a 5-drop, but I have no problem not awakening it for a 2/2, unless I just have extra mana. Here I think the Tightening Coils is a good pickup. Incubator Drone would also be good. If it comes back around, I would be more than happy to play it. If anyone else is in blue, there's no chance I see it, though. But I'll take the Tightening Coils. Now I'm wishing I hadn't taken the Tightening Coils. Is Hedron Archive just always good enough to play? Or should I have a Cryptic Cruiser? I do love a Hedron Archive, and I would be more than happy to pick that up in most drafts. But this one has been a little different. My curve currently tops out at 7, and honestly, I probably don't even play that card. And would I rather have another Tightening Coils? Maybe. You know what? I'm going to take the Hedron Archive. We'll see. If I pick up an Eldrazi, I'll play it, and if I don't, probably leave it in the sideboard. So what can we currently hit with Titan's Presence? Yeah, not looking like a good pickup there. If we're holding a Drowner of Hope is our best option, but other than that, everything has like 2 power. So we could pick up a Cloud Manta. Cloud Manta number 2, which makes it a little less exciting. So I do want at least something for the top end of the curve. I'm going to take the Behemoth. I'd rather have like a Ruin Processor, but this will do for now if I don't find something else. And I do have a couple of ways to make Eldrazi Scion, so it's possible that its ability comes into play. Shadow Glider versus Courier Griffin. It looks like at this point we probably are just playing white and blue. Would I rather have a 4-drop or a 3-drop? I think the 4-drop slot's a little more open. Rush of Ice is just okay. Incubator Drone is probably the pick. Second Encircling Fissure. Okay. We're going to have to make some serious cuts here. Alright, so I guess we get a chance at the Royal's Retribution anyway. I don't know, it's a card I like. I'm just not sure I like it here. Pretty expensive. But this is a deck where I may be leaving up mana quite a bit, so maybe it's not as bad. Just hate on a Colostria Healer, which honestly should not be here. Pick up a big Eldrazi, which is something I was looking for. Hedron Blade, Mountain Forest. I guess that's how I would draft in real life. Maybe it doesn't make any sense online because I don't know if the lands are really worth anything. I do want to get enough to play in my decks, but the last time there were full art lands, I wasn't playing Magic, so I don't really have any. Alright, so what do we do here? I like to move my non-creature spells out. As much as I like Encircling Fissure, I don't think I play 2. I don't know that I need a Anticipate. I may not even need a Smite the Monstrous. And then I think probably main decking 1 Felidar Cub for enchantment removal is enough, and if I decide I need it, I could add another. But this is not an aggressive deck, so I don't think I need 2. I wish I'd picked up a couple more Tide Drifter. Well, Tide Drifter would have been fine. Benthic Infiltrator is what I was thinking. I like the 1/4 for any kind of control deck. 2 Sky Spawners is good. 1 Courier Griffin. So yeah, I like it. I like it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 Awaken cards and a Tide Collar. So they do have flying, which is nice. I wonder if I cut the other Cub too, just for mana reasons. Just to, I mean, if we're gonna play the Royal's Retribution, we need double white. So maybe that's a reason to cut that. And then I think playing the Royal Spout and Encircling Fissure is fine. I don't mind playing the Courier Griffin. But maybe we do cut the other Felidar Cub. Because I would really like to get the Hedron Archive into play. Coral Helm Guide could be our win condition with one of these big Eldrazi. I think I'm going to cut the Felidar Cub. And I like Spell Shrivel, but I like it a lot less than some other counter spells in previous sets, just because this format is slow and you tend to get to a ton of mana, and then the controller pays 4 extra colorless. It gets to be like a negating factor for the card itself, and that you don't even get any value from it, because once you get to the top deck mode, when everyone can pay for a counterspell anyway, late game, all you're doing is charging them for extra mana, which maybe it prevents them from playing a second spell, but it's probably not going to prevent them from playing whatever it is they want to play. Early game, it's quite good. I think I could cut a Cloud Manta. I like the Drowner of Hope, Deathless Behemoth synergy there, where I get a couple of colorless Eldrazi and then I can bring back the Deathless Behemoth. That's pretty cool. So I can process and return one of my... So I have 2 different ways to return Awaken cards. So that definitely means we want to be able to play 18 lands. So one more cut. Tempted to just cut the Spell Shrivel, and the only reason I'm not is because it exiles. But what else would I cut instead? I'm like super tempted to just cut the Courier Griffin. I got very good white, but like no white allies. I didn't even realize I picked up 2 Hedron Blades. I think the Cloud Manta is probably okay. So with the Cloud Manta, like every creature I have except for the Coral Helm Guide flies or creates something that flies except for the Incubator Drone. Well, I guess my Eldrazi don't, but I wonder if I just cut a Spell Shrivel. I know a lot of people don't play Coastal Discovery, but I just played it against Josh the other night in a blue-red deck. We did a little, just a little paper magic. We played some we played some. We call it. I don't even play it, so I don't even know. We played some sealed, and it was a ton of fun. It's not something I generally do, but we had a couple leftover pre-release packs that we hadn't used for anything, so we went ahead and just played Magic. It was great. This last cut is like causing me anxiety. I don't know what to do. I think I'm just gonna cut a Spell Shrivel, and if you guys disagree with me on that, let me know. But I think it's the least utility I get out of these, and it has some synergy, but it doesn't have like a great synergy. It's not like I have a ton of processors. So I'm gonna go ahead and sort by color and combine the groups. So I'm really only playing 3 white. So let's look, 15 and 3. And the earliest I might need white mana is turn 4. And I probably don't play it. I guess turn 4 I might play it, but other than that, if I'm awakening, I'm not playing it till much later. I'm going to play 4. And I will see you all back here for round 1. Thanks for watching.